Ujasenem, 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 Ujasenem,
Okay, my aunt, I bet. What's up, everyone? What's up?
Okay, my God, everybody.
Happy to be back. How are you, Sinette? Oh, yay.
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I cannot complain on this divine day as we come to give praise. I look forward to these Sundays. I can complain about the whole week, but when we get here, it's like it's all left at the table. So, I'm doing, coming along. I'm gonna be standing with you today. Let's see how that go.
Don't overdo it. Don't overdo it.
I want my chairs right here, but I'm standing up today. All right, as everyone is chiming in and coming in, Unc and my all family. Let's see who we have so far. Unc and my Hatep Sin James. Glad to see you there on the YouTube channel. So we'll keep that one up there. If you'll take a look at the, make sure you look at the Facebook. I'll keep an eye on the YouTube. All right, family. So today, want to say before we even get into the theme, we always want to say Dwa to the Netaru and all of you who are gathering here with us today. Today we're going to gather with something heavy but sacred, a heavy but sacred truth. We're going to be discussing grief today. So our theme of today is going to be grieving and community, supporting one another in times of sorrow. So we all know that loss and sorrow and emotional pain are experiences that we all face at different times in our lives. And in those moments, the heart can feel heavy, the mind can seem unsettled, and our spirit may feel weakened. But we also know that within the teachings of Ma'at, we're reminded that we don't have to carry those sorrows alone. Community, as Sanet Kazi or Sanet Oye was speaking on last week, is one of our greatest gifts, one of the greatest gifts we have. Because when one of us is hurting, we all feel it. When one of us is grieving, we are all called to show up with compassion, patience, and presence. There's been many times when different members of our shrine and family members have been sick or, going through something, or even, the loss of a loved one. And we all feel called to show up and to be present for each other. So again, that's one of the greatest gifts that the community has. So today, as we reflect on how we can support each other in times of sorrow, and not trying to fix everything or having the right words to say all the time, but by standing beside each other in truth, love, and understanding. So before we get into today's, theme and discussion, I'm going to turn this over to Sanet Oye, our way opener, so she can go ahead and come and bring us the opening of the way.
Okay. All right. So we're going to stand, everybody, and we're going to get in the pose of adoration. Too much here. And that's your left foot is forward, your right foot back, your left hand forward, your right hand is back, and your wrists are slightly bented. We're going to take 3 deep breaths, and on the 3rd deep breath, we're going to chant the word Ankh. All right, we're going to take in the first breath. Breathe in. Let it out. Breathe in. And let it out. And on this last breath, we're going to chant the word Ankh once we on the exhale. So we're going to breathe in. Om. Nisharak in Bethet, Nuke in Bethet, Ha Nisharak Happy, Nuke Happy, Twau in turn to the right. Ha Nisharak Circuit, Nuke Circuit, Ha Nisharak Kepsanut, Nuke Kepsanut, Twau in turn to the right. Nesharak Ast, Nuke Ast, Nesharak Set, Nuke Set, Twau Winter. Turn to the right. Nesharak Neat, Nuke Neat, Nesharak Dua Mutef, Nuke Dua Mutef. Twau Winter. Turn to the right. Netrak Newt. Nuke Newt. Netrak Geb. Nuke Geb. Twau Winter. Netrak Shoe. 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 Nuke Shoe. Netrak Tefnut. 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 Nuke Tefnut. Twau Winter. Netrak Paut Interu. Nuke Paut and Teru, Anasharak and Boo and Teru, Nuke and Boo and Teru, Twau and Ter. Om. Twau and Ter. Twau and Ter.
Do I. We have a family member joining us today, and before we bring the family member on the stage with us, in lieu of what we will be discussing this morning, as we bring this family member on, Sinette Oye, if you do not mind reading the flowers as I bring the guests on, and I am going to get out the things that I'm in use of symbolizing for the flowers that we are going to be discussing this morning. So every week, we always give our flowers. We always want to also give flowers to Himnetter and Tepi Jabari, who is, the chief priest of our shrine of Ma'at. We also want to give flowers to all of you who join us this morning and every week as you continue to show up in support of the circle and sacred space that we've created here. Our guests, our full members, as well as the committed community who continue to show up and support us. So with that being said, I'm going to bring our family member onto the stage. And if you would go through the flowers, and I will discuss the symbolism that I have here today.
Okay, absolutely. So, first, before I go to the flowers, I want to I want to first give honor to our dear elder ancestor, Baba Hey Hrw, Unc Raj, Samaj. Ooh, I just messed up.
Across the Maj Sepatai.
Hey, say Bata, yes.
It rolls out.
It is a tongue twister for me.
I close my eyes and it rolls out.
Yes, I want to honor Baba because he is the one who is responsible for the opening of the way. He gave the opening of the way to us. So every chance that we get, we will always, always, always honor Baba Hey Hrw.
Dua, Baba Hiru. Uncle Ma'ats and Jason, welcome to the stage in this week's session. Um, Before we get into, we're glad and honored to have you here, and so joyful that you could be here. And as Sinette Oye go ahead and gives us these flowers, you'll understand why I wanted to bring you on while giving the flowers.
For those who have lost loved ones, for those carrying silent grief, for those healing from emotional pain, for those supporting others through difficult times. May these offerings represent our compassion and our willingness to stand with one another.
So today I'm bringing out, I usually will bring out a different plant. If you all can see this plant. This plant is it's 20 something years old. This is the last living thing that belonged to my mother. This plant is a representation that I offer to you, Sin Jason, today, and to anyone else who's grieving and mourning the loss. Flowers remind us that the cycle of life continues, that all things grow, that all things change, and that all things return. They also remind us that even in sorrow, there is still beauty, memory, and love that remains. So today I offer this to you. And anyone else who's watching. Again, she is about 20 years old, and it's the last actual living thing that belonged to my mother. Now, I also light the candle in memory of those who are no longer with us, Those we love, they never go away. They walk beside us every day, unseen, unheard, but always near. Still love, still miss, and very dear. So that we offer to all of you, including you, and Jason, who's here with us. Before we get into, excuse me for the emotional, we're all, you'll all understand a little bit as to why this day is an emotional discussion for many of us, for our members, for our family members, and us here on the screen. But before we do that, let's go ahead and set the feather so our intentions can be pure. As we are able to be vulnerable in this space, we're able to show our again vulnerability in our emotions, and we're safe and we're held by each and every one of us in this community that gather in this space. Usually I would say this is the 4 breaths of life, but today this is going to be the 4 breaths of comfort. So as we breathe and get ready for today's discussion, we're going to breathe. I'm going to tell you the 4 breaths now so that we can ring the bell and take those breaths and just meditate on them. The first breath's going to be peace. We're going to breathe in peace and exhale any chaos. We're going to breathe in compassion and exhale any oppression. We're going to breathe in strength and exhale any weakness. And finally, we're going to breathe in ma'at and exhale sorrow. So let's take our 4 breaths. Now, as we breathe together, we allow space for the heart to soften. The feather of ma'at reminds us that even when the heart is heavy, balance can be restored through care, patience, and support. Sunette 8, oh yeah, if you would like to transition us into today's adoration discussion.
Okay. Okay, so having centered ourselves, we now move into the adoration part of today. Adoration in times of grief is both praise and surrender. It is the acknowledgement that even in sorrow, the Netaru remains present, that even in loss, life continues, that even in pain, healing is possible. Let us now offer praise.
All right. Iau to Ma'at, Lady of Truth and Balance, you who steady the hearts, even in times of our sorrow. We ask that your balance bring peace to those of us who are grieving. Iau to Ra, source of light. We know that even after the darkest night, you will rise again. We ask that your light bring hope to those of us who are in darkness. Iau to Jehuti, Master of Wisdom. You help us understand what we cannot explain. We ask that your wisdom bring us clarity and calm any of our minds that may be troubled. Iau to Asar, Neb of endurance and renewal, the one that teaches us that life continues even beyond loss. May your presence bring strength to those of us who are hurting. Dwa R Hrw, protector and upholder of Ma'at, you who stand strong in the face of adversity. May your courage uplift us when we feel weak. We also honor our ancestors as always, those who have transitioned, yet they remain within us, within our spirits, our memory, and our influence. We remember them with love and we honor them through the lives that we live. we have a reading today, and then we're going to get into the discussion, and we want to have our Sin Jason discuss a little bit once we do get into the discussion after our reading. So I am going to show you what we'll be reading from. We will be reading from the Hosea. This is going to be the Book of Dialogue with the Soul. It's page 81. We're going to read verse 3 through 4.
So death to me today is like health to the ill, like going outdoors after confinement. Death to me today is like the smell of myrrh, like sitting under the sail on a windy day. Death to me today is like the fragrance of lotus, like sitting on the shore of feasting. Death to me today is like a well trodden way, like returning home from war. Death to me today is like the clearing up of clouds from the sky, like a person discovering that which was unknown. Death to me today is like longing to see home after spending many years in captivity. For surely one who reaches the beyond will be a living God, punishing the offenses of the wrongdoers. Surely one who reaches the beyond will be one who stands in the sunbark of Ra, causing abundant gifts to be given to the temples. Surely one who reaches the beyond will be considered wise and will not be prevented from appealing to Ra when he or she speaks. And my soul said to me, cast your complaints aside, my comrade and brother. Make offerings on the sacrificial fire and cling to life as I have said. Love me, your soul. Here, set aside thoughts of death and desire death only when your body joins the earth. Then I will alight on you after you have become truly weary, and we shall dwell together forever.
Dua to Alunater. Wow. So as she read from that, now our discussion goes into how can we show up for each other or someone who's grieving? How do we offer support without judgment or expectation? And how can we create space for others to feel seen, heard, and held? How do we hold each other in times of sorrow? And we know that sometimes support isn't about having the right words. Sometimes it's just listening, being present, offering kindness, and holding space. That is our discussion for the day. How do we support each other in times of sorrow? So, Jason, I'd like to turn the floor over to you at this time. And I know that this is difficult. And I know that there was a plan for you to attend this session one day and have things flowery to talk about, but you know the divine chooses the time and the place for everything. It's not always when we choose it.
Yeah, Uncle my family. Yeah, this has been very, very difficult. As you all probably know, those who know me know how close my brother and I were. He's been ailing for quite a while, about 2 years, really longer because he's been in need of a kidney transplant for maybe 4 or 5 years now. So I thought of every excuse in the world not to be here today, of course. But I said, no, no. If just seeing my face and hearing whatever words I may have may be of help to someone else, then yeah, I need to be here. So, and thank you for the invite, Sinette Shinka. You just stated that sometimes showing up for someone, it's not about having the right words. It's just about listening. And you just don't know how impactful that is right now. It was just over the last 3 days. That's exactly what I've been telling everybody. If you all have seen my Facebook posts about my brother and all of the comments and all of the hearts and likes you can see he was a well-loved brother. My brother was a guy that you can't find a person on this earth that can say a bad word about him. And the crazy thing is that, as you all know, we're from East St. Louis, and he was loved like that there. But after moving here to Nebraska, he got that same love. That same love, man. I'm telling you, y'all, it's amazing. And I was telling his son yesterday, I've never idolized anyone in my life, but if there was anyone that I have come close to idolizing, it would be my brother. This brother was and it wasn't about trying to be like him or anything. I kind of just always wanted people to look at me the way they looked at him. You know what I mean? It's one of those things, like to grow up with somebody like that, and it always amazed me how people were just drawn to him. You know what I mean? It's a crazy thing, man. Please bear with me, you all. It is still quite emotional, but I'm telling you, talking about it really helps. It really does. Talking about him really helps. And but like I was saying, everybody, I mean, over the last 3 days, I've only been able to stay off my phone for maybe 2 hours with all the people reaching out and checking on me, making sure I'm okay. And everybody asks, what can we do for you? What can we, do to help or whatever? And there is nothing you can do but listen. No words can ease the pain. No words can ease the pain. But I tell you that seeing the love, the outpouring of love that been coming through for him, that makes me feel so much better, you all. That there's no worry about when his heart is weighed. I don't have any worry about that. In fact, he may even be able to get past the weighing of the heart, and all of the Dwa R Hrw may just say, hey, place the ankh on the knee, and he's, you know what I mean? This guy, you would have to know him to get what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Well-loved guy. Never had even through all of this sickness and illness that he's been going through for the last few years, always kept a smile on his face. And I know he was scared at the end, but still never showed it. Never, he lived life to the fullest. So yeah, nothing you can say can really ease a person's pain, usually, at least I'll say in my case. Just a listening ear, just being in my presence. Usually I'm a lone griever. I grieve alone normally. I promised myself I wasn't going to do that this time. I've had so many people around me, and I'm telling you, man, that helps a lot. It makes it so much better, so much easier. I've had friends who I haven't seen in 20, 30 years. One friend traveled all the way from California just to be here with me for 2 days. And I said, what do you come here for, man? Like, there's nothing you can do. He said, no, there is something I can do. I can sit right here with you and just be with you. Yeah, for 2 days. For 2 days. So it's just been amazing. I'm doing my best to allow the grieving process to take its place. My dad passed away back in 2000, and I didn't do that. I didn't allow that grieving process to take place. And I found myself in grief counseling for the next 2 years because I was not in my right mind. This time I'm letting it, when I need to break down, I'm breaking down. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care who's around, and I'm the youngest of my family, but I've always been, well, they say I've always been the strong one. I don't see it, but they say they see it, So this time I'm not trying to be the strong one. I'm just letting it happen. Whatever happens, happens, And you all have been so wonderful through this, through my grieving process. I think, of course, all of you all from the Saru have reached out. So many members of the shrine have reached out. I just want everyone to know that I am okay. I'm fine. I'm not fine, but I'm dealing with everything, the way I feel like I should. I'm allowing the grief process to happen. I'm allowing people to be there for me. That's something I normally wouldn't do. I would kind of shut everyone out, you know what I mean, when I'm grieving, but I'm not doing that this time. I've allowed everybody to express their, condolences and everything to me. And it's been really difficult. The most difficult part has been his kids arrived yesterday. His 3 oldest kids arrived yesterday, and I was perfectly okay until I saw them grieving. And then it just, I love my nephews and my nieces, man, and to see them like that yesterday, it was really hard. I had to go to his house and look over his things, see what we need to do about all of that. And that was difficult. That was difficult. The pictures, even my brother was a huge Dallas Cowboys fan. Right now, it's hard to see anything Dallas Cowboys. You know what I mean? Because it immediately goes to him. You know what I mean? I'm just thankful that I have I didn't know I had such a good support system, starting with you all. You know what I mean? I didn't know, and just to know that so many people are thinking about me and my family right now, you all, that means everything. It means everything to us. Like, seriously, it really does. We're very close family. We've got family all over the country. So like we're trying to decide on the, best time to, make arrangements and things. We've got to do 2 different memorial services or funerals because we got to do one here in Nebraska, and the East St. Louis they'd go crazy if we didn't come there and do something. So we've got to do 2. So I'm going to do that twice. So yeah, I'm letting the process happen, you all. How I'm dealing with it, I'm just dealing with it. There's no special way, or there's no special thing that I'm doing to help me get through it. I'm just letting it flow. And as those feelings of sadness and sorrow and all of that come, I let them come, and then I let them go. That's all I've been doing. I've got great people around me. And I know I have you all to always reach out to if I need to. I told you all I was going to jump on a call with you all, but I wasn't in the mood for that at the time, so I just didn't. You know what I mean? So if I had you all waiting on me, I apologize. But like I said, I'm letting the process happen. I'm not in control of this. This is the Netaru and the ancestors. So whatever comes, whatever goes. But I do want everyone who reach out, message, text, call, whatever, I do want you all to know it is very much appreciated, and it is helpful. It is very helpful. So I'm really just glad to be here. I'm glad I didn't talk myself out of coming in, because even just being here with you all makes me feel better, to be honest with you.
We know that so many of us has gone through these in the recent, this year and the last few years. We've had many family members that have gone through things. Many shrine members who have lost loved ones. We have St. James, who's there, who recently lost his nephew.
Yes.
You and I lost family members on the same night.
Yep.
The crazy thing about these Sundays are again, organic, but we have been, since we haven't had Himnet or Waziri here, we do think of a topic of discussion. And I had thought of, let's talk about grieving and had no idea that,
Yeah.
and I do want to raise his name. We're going to raise both of
Yes.
your names because your
Yes.
brother passed away the same day that my aunt passed away. We're going to raise the name here. And for all of you all who are watching, although we're not necessarily in the prayer service portion of this yet, but I do want to, it doesn't matter if it was 25 years ago, yesterday, recent. If you have a loved one that's heavy on your mind at this time, put the names in the chat, speak them aloud. And right now we're going to say his name. That's Aaron Lamont Adams L. We're going to say Peggy L. Douglas. Now, both of these two speaking, I never got a chance to meet your brother, but I've seen, for some reason, all of your family members that's been posting about him, I can see them. I don't know if it's because they're tagging you or what, but the love that I've seen speaks for itself. I've gotten to know him through you and through the post.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see that, we that are still here, we have our pain is more selfish. The physical things that we know that physically, as you and I are here with each other, or we can touch each other, we won't have that anymore. So those are the things that we miss. But what an honor to have such a sting. So I say, let it sting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What an honor to have such a sting, for someone to have left such an impact on not just your life, but your heart, of all things, your heart. That's a memory a feeling and a memory that can't be erased. So that is the goal. When we talk in Sebayit, when we do here, our goal is to leave that sting on the hearts of those we know, those that we love and that love us. If you don't leave that sting, are you really going into becoming Dwa R Hrw?
Right.
If the sting is not left, your name will not be spoken again. So what Aaron Lamont Adams L did is he left a sting from state to state on many blood relatives and friends, people who, like you said, that met him. He was able to leave a sting. Now, my Aunt Peggy, she was an elder. She had, she was suffering the last few months. I shared with you all, I would share the video here. I just don't want to take up so much of everyone's time. She had her children and her grandchildren surrounded her. They were praying when she took her last breath for generations to come. What a sting. And that woman, she was my grandmother's sister. And she was, I'm telling you, she was a thing. Another sting. So to leave a sting is the goal. Otherwise, what are we doing? What are we doing if the sting is not left when we are gone? So I give thanks to the sting, even in the moments when you have to not be okay. People say be strong. You don't have to be strong. The sting is the sting. Allow it to do what it's going to do. And eventually the sting becomes something different as time goes on. It becomes less of a sting and more of that joy and more thankfulness of being able to share, even if only a brief moment, to be able to get that sting, to be able to be stung by something that affects you in that manner. Just imagine how many people don't get that, don't get to experience that. I've walked down the halls of hospital when another aunt was in the hospital for over a month. And she was the one, I don't know if you guys remember a few years ago when my aunt, they thought she was going to pass away. Well, here it is 4 years later, and nobody would even remember that existed. But we took spending the nights in the hospital with her, and I would go to the chapel to do my Kemetic meditation. And as I walked down those hallways, there were people who were on their deathbeds, and there was nobody visiting these people. And I mean, it was a hallway of pretty much of death, because it was a ward where it was like the ward where people were at their last stages. There were not family members visiting these people. And mind you, she was there for a month. So to be able to have your loved ones around you and to be able to experience that as they ushered her into the other side.
Yeah. If I could add something on to that, Sinette, you just said when you all were visiting with your aunt at the hospital, there were so many people there, basically on their dying bed with no one there with them. I experienced that night with my brother, and that really broke my heart. And I was like tempted to just walk out of his room and just go into each of those rooms where I didn't see anyone, just so someone could be there with them. You know what I mean? But I didn't do that, but I was tempted to. That's just where my
When I
heart.
went to the chapel, that's what I was going to the chapel to pray for my aunt, and I did not. My aunt was fine. That's when it dawned on me. She's got people by her side every day. These
Mm-hmm,
people don't.
mm-hmm,
I didn't pray for
mm-hmm,
her. I prayed for them.
mm-hmm. That's what I was getting at.
I prayed for them. I
Yeah,
prayed that they didn't leave here alone. You know, that they had someone who cared, who they would leave a sting on.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and as this discussion, you know, for all of you all listening on YouTube and on Facebook, this is one of the gifts that this community offers, and it's not just the Shrine of Ma'at, but we're talking about as comedic practitioners, as whatever practitioner, just as community, as family, as and family is not always blood. You know, sometimes it takes just showing up, and when the noise, when the sounds quiet down, that's when the time is the most that you need to reach out and call and just check on folks. You don't have to have the right words, but when the noise dies down and the calls get to be fewer, that's when the dust settles. That's when we should be there for each other. We should always be there for each other. But as a community, you know this about one of your family members. And I mean, you know, comedic family members. We know what's going on in our families. We know what's, you know, happening there. But there's always support that's necessary, which is what we can provide for each other as comedic practitioners. Just reaching out and say, hey, Sin, how are you? You know, and this is sorrow is not always in the loss or death. People are emotionally suffering that we will never know about. You know, going through relationship troubles, financial troubles, sicknesses. There are lots of reasons, but there are so many faces of sorrow and suffering that we've all experienced. One of the beauties of being a community is that you're not walking alone and you don't have to. So I appreciate you coming here to be vulnerable with us and knowing that you're safe and held and you can do that. Anyone can. There's no judgment. There's no expectation. You coming on here again, we don't do this for views, you know. We don't worry about if one or nobody sees it. But the intention is really to let folks know that nobody's actually alone. If we've got nobody else, we have each other. All of us. At any time, at any hour. When people say they'll be there for you, usually it's a lot of people use empty words and maybe not unintentional. They don't do it intentionally, but they feel like it's the right things to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, put those words in.
Listen, let me just piggyback off of that part real quick because so like if I don't know if y'all know this, but for me recently, because I've dealt with so many different losses in the last, let's say, 6 years now, um, I've kind of I go the other way. You know what I mean? Like I'll come and I'll give my condolences and then I kind of disappear. I kind of disappear. And I think it's because like I'm still going through my process and that triggers my process or whatever. And in that I feel terrible because I want to just sit in silence with with everybody. Um But I don't know. It does something to my nervous system, and then I just go the other way, And then I'll come poke my head back out eventually, a little bit down the road, I guess, when it's a little more bearable and not so fresh. But yeah, that's something that I have picked up within the last 6 years, because every time I turned around, I was losing somebody, and it was like back to back to back. And the one that affected me the most was when I lost my ex-husband. And he was still my very best friend, and I was very much in his life. He was very much still in my life. I was his emergency contact. So like when like the doctors called, they was calling either me or my son. My son got the call now. And the yelp that came from this boy, trying to wake me up from, I'm a heavy sleeper, so when I'm out cold, okay? Not even gunshots will wake me up, and that's literal because that happened. Somebody was shooting at the apartment next door, and in an apartment building, it echoes, and I slept through it. Everybody else was up. I slept through it. Now I'm like, what? Gunshots? What are y'all talking about? Oblivious. But anywho, yeah, so I'm asleep, and the yelp that came from him, it was like it jolted me up out of my sleep, where I'm still delirious, but I'm here. And he's telling me, mom, dad, so I'm trying to get up the steps or whatever, because I'm still not up, but I make it up the steps, and he's handing me the phone, and the doctor's on the phone, and they're saying stuff. Okay, I wasn't catching anything that they were saying, just that something had happened to him. I didn't catch what happened, how it happened. I didn't catch anything, but I was going with the motions, I was like, uh-huh, uh-huh, okay, I was responding. But I had to get down there. So my homeboy hit me and was like, do you got a way down there? And he cashed at me money to make sure that I can get down there. And it was impevitable for me to make it down there, because most of our conversations were that he did not want to die alone. And I felt like it was my duty to make sure that he did not have to take his last breaths alone, because I did understand that that was inevitable. You understand, it wasn't no coming back from whatever took place. This was going to be the time that he actually, transitioned. So I did make it down to the hospital. I got to see him and everything. Um, and then I was like, all right, let me grab something to eat, because I was getting lightheaded. And I went to go grab something to eat. And on the way back, I get a phone call, right? And they're letting me know, like, oh, you need to make a decision, and you need to make a decision now. Wait, hold. What do you mean I need to make a decision? No, I ain't making no decision. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. You know, they're doing CPR on him, while I'm on my way. I'm on my way, and I'm running through the hospital. I'm running off of the elevator. I'm running down the hallway. You know what I mean? I ran till I got to that boy's room. And once I got to his room, and I'm standing there and I'm watching them, and they're pressing on him, and they'll bring him back, but then he'll crash again, and then they'll bring him back, and then he'll crash again. And I was just like, okay, I can't take it, So I was like, stop. I just told them to stop, and they stopped. And once they stopped and like cleared the path, I came right in and I grabbed his hand, and I stood there and I held his hand until he took his last breath. And even after he took his last breath, I still remained there, So for me, like, that it was very important to me. It didn't affect me like in a way. It made me feel like I did what I was supposed to do in that moment, that I was a guide, for him to transition from the physical to the spiritual realm, and he did not have to do it alone. And I carry that with me.
Yeah, Sinette, you said that you since you've been through so much grief over the last few years that now when certain things come up, you tend to like run the other way. I know in that there could sometimes you could feel some guilt in that sometimes. Don't. That's your grieving process.
Right.
It's you dealing with your grief.
That's right.
I felt so guilty because I wasn't there with my brother when he transitioned.
Mhm.
But I wasn't supposed to be, obviously, because I wasn't there.
That's
Right.
right.
The only thing that's going to happen is what's supposed to happen. So I certainly hope you don't feel any grief because any guilt because you deal with things that way now. That's how your emotions and your mental is working, is dealing with it. So
That's
yeah,
right.
don't feel any guilt about that. You grieve the way you need to grieve. You deal with things the way you need to deal with.
And
You know.
St. James says here, do it again, I bet just for being there. Community makes a difference. And do it for the myrrh. Send you both my condolences and draw strength from the Netaru. Exactly, St. James. I feel like that was why today's theme was such an important topic. We talk about all of the, we talk, what we do talk about in our Kemetic spirituality. We talk about, giving praise, and we talk about a lot of ancient things, and which is great, where we get our knowledge from, and rituals and different things like that. But we also need to focus on the now, those of us now, because a lot of our text talks about the afterlife and the duat, but we also got to make sure that we tend and care for those of us who are here, um, because we are the ushers for those that go before us. They become ancestors, and until it's our turn, our duty is to usher them into that afterlife, and to help them on their journey, no matter what their background is, because many of us have family members that have different spiritual backgrounds, which doesn't matter. As the ones that are still here, before they make those transitions, our duty is to usher them. And what they leave on us, that sting that I was talking about, that they leave on us, that's what we walk with. And then ones that are under us will usher us. We can only hope to be ushered in the manner of which we do it. And I don't mean as Kemetic practitioners per se, I just mean in the manner of which we love our family members, which we love our friends, our children, our parents. Just like our parents birthed us and they take care of us as babes to the best of their ability. The tables turn at a time when they become babes again. And in spite of whatever may have gone on, you're still required to be that usher. You know,
Once a child, yeah. I'm just saying.
no, true. Like for
Yeah. You're once a man and twice a child.
Hmm.
you
You know
know,
what I mean?
and sometimes age is not even a part of it. You
No.
know, it really isn't a part of it, because we own no one. We don't even know at this moment when our last day will become. What we know is that yesterday is gone, today is a mystery. What we have is this moment. So this moment has to count to the best of our abilities. And I remember, St. Jason, you were talking about speaking to people, and Saruja Ma'at with people that's why I say this moment is all we have.
Mm-hmm.
This
Mm-hmm.
is it. If there's a phone call that needs to be made, pick that phone call up, be the bigger person, and don't wait for the phone to ring, because it may never ring. And
Yeah.
if it never rings because it was unable to be rung, you're going to wish you made that phone call.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not worth it, because we get this one. And it's not worth carrying a bunch of, you know, just chaos on your shoulders. Love
That's
what you can.
Yeah, that's been my message to everyone throughout this situation. I've done it a lot of it since the moment my brother passed away. My whole mindset has been to mend those relationships that may be fractured or broken. And I've done that. I feel so good about the fact that I've done that. And that's been my mission. I mean, my message to everybody. Whatever conflict you may have with a loved one or friend or whatever, in these moments, you're going to look back and say it wasn't worth it. You're going to look back and say, what were we even arguing about anyway? So fix those, people. Fix those. It's not more than likely, whatever you're beefing over or whatever, it's probably not even important at all.
And it's okay if relationships are never able to be the same, but they don't. That doesn't mean they have to be broken.
Right.
Just
Right.
because it's not going to be what it once was, or you've outgrown that part of you, whatever the case may be, it doesn't have to be left broken, because when
Yeah.
you leave things broken, you leave unfinished business. So I agree, men, Saruj Ma'at, you don't necessarily have to be what you were, or whatever you make peace with, as it applies to things that have been done and things that we've done to offend others. It doesn't have to be left broken,
No.
even if it can never be this relationship or that relationship again. It still doesn't need to be left broken, because like I said, you don't want to leave here with unfinished business. And it's unsettling. And it's unsettling when you allow somebody else to leave here and you didn't finish the business with them that you could have, too.
Mm-hmm.
So with that,
You need to
that's
really get that weight off your heart.
exactly. Exactly. And you can also, when you become an ancestor, if you don't get that weight off you, you might be leaving weight on other people that they don't even know
Mhm.
that they're carrying.
And
You
before
know,
you transition, Sinette, let me read some of these comments from Facebook.
please.
So first we have Melanation app, and that's our Jati, Tahuti Forever, Anka Mayat, Atan, Amin Ra, excuse me, Becca Nefera Bet, Curtis Jackson, that's our Sin Curtis Jackson, Anka Mayata Bet, and Curtis' sister, his sister-in-law transitioned yesterday.
Did he
So
place
we
her name?
definitely, huh?
Did he put her name?
No, he did not.
St. Curtis, if you would, please put her name in there so that we can speak it.
Yes. Our brother Sin Jason Holmes is sending his condolences to St. Curtis. Then you have me saying Uncle Mayat to everybody. And sending my condolences. Then Jati says, Myrrh and smooth transitions to your brother. May he have no need for his heart to be weighed.
Mhm,
And that
mhm.
was to you, Sin Jason.
That's right.
And then I put some names in the chat for the prayer part.
Okay. I see in our YouTube we have Coach D. Coach D said, Ma'at is being worthy of our fellow man. That is the sting that Shenka speaks of. Yes, absolutely. Self-mastery is lightening of the hearts. That is correct. That is all about what, and I speak of that too, Coach D, a lot. I say the war is always within ourselves, it's not with other people, to be honest with you. And that's a part of that self-mastery, like you're saying. When you do that, it's so much easier to lighten your heart, so much easier to let go and mend things, even being at peace. If things can never be what they once were, you're okay with mending things. And when you walk away at peace. And like you said, with a light heart. And each time that you drop some of those stones off that you might have, picked up and thrown at people, the heart becomes even lighter. We speak in Sebayit about, preparing our tombs. That's part of it. Getting rid of those bricks that's weighing us down, that scale that I'll pull out in just a moment. It shouldn't be tilted one way or another. But we always have the ability, when we do, when we're able to have another chance to lighten that load again, to rebalance. As long as you have breath in your body, you can do that. Once it's gone, it's gone. So I'll wait. We don't know what the next moment is going to be, but what we do know is right now that we can master who we are in this moment. We can choose right now. The churches will say, "Oh, do you want to be saved? Come right now." That's what they're saying. You can choose right now to make a different choice than you did a moment ago. They might use other terms that we don't agree with, but the concept remains the same. In this moment right now, I can't save you from hell or hot water, but you can still choose. I can choose right now to make a different choice than I did yesterday or the moment before. If that's weighing, if your heart has been heavy from a decision that you've made, you can't make any decisions for anybody else. Can't choose different for them, but you can choose what you're going to do, what you're going to feel, how you're going to react. You can take weight off of that scale. And when we look at the transitions of our loved ones right now, and Curtis, once we get your sister's name, we're going to speak that as well.
We
When
have
we
her
look at
name.
it, we do have a name.
It's Pamela Prude Wilson.
Pamela Prude
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes, Pamela.
Raise your
Prude
name
Wilson.
along with Aaron Lamont Adams L, along with Peggy Bell, along with any others that you all choose to put in the chat. We raise that name because keep in mind, if they didn't leave that sting, we will not say their names. We got to speak their names. Anytime a memory comes up, a tear comes down, a song reminds you, a scent reminds you, some food reminds you, whatever it is that will remind you of that loved one, say that name in that moment out loud. Somebody next to you might be in the store and think you're crazy, and so be it. Say that name because they lived through us. And as long as we speak of them, they will never die. We only hope to be spoken of after we leave here. And it's not an aspiration. What we do is from sincerity. We don't do it so we can be spoken. We do it because it's true to who we are. And that's what Aaron did. That's what Peggy did. That's what our young 13-year-old nephew, whose name I will grab his name, St. James's nephew. We never knew him, but guess what? That young man's name, 13 or not, will be spoken because a sting was left. When you see a video game, whatever reminds you of these folks that we that are no longer here with us physically. My mother, when I see this plant, when a scent of that old lady perfume that she loved, that I got an expensive perfume, stinks to high hell, but she loved that perfume. I spray it. And sometimes I don't spray it and I ain't sprayed it nowhere, but it comes across my nostrils. How? I don't know, because she's there. I say, Deborah. This plant, her name was Deborah Smith. Deborah Laverne Smith. This plant I call her Little Debbie because it was hers. So that's how we continue. That's how we support each other. And it's not the answer because there's many ways as a community we can support each other. But this is one of them out of many. Holding space. We just discussed here. We don't have any words that we're trying to take away that sting. It should sting. Let it sting. I'm blessed to have let it sting. And when the sting returns at any time, because it never like goes away. You get, it changes. But then 10 years down the line, you could be driving a car and all of a sudden tears start flowing. You're thinking about your brother, just like it was yesterday.
Yep.
Same with my mother, same with your ex-husband, same with many of us who have lost our close loved ones. It's not that it goes away. It becomes bearable after the sorrow part of it. But any little thing can trigger it. And at that moment, say that name. Sometimes those triggers show up because they may be like, you ain't said my name in a minute. What's wrong with you?
I always like to tell people the pain never goes away, but
Thank
it does
you,
get
James.
better.
He said it. I did. Jaden Pierce. Yes.
Jaden Pierce.
Jaden Pierce.
Jaden Pierce.
And I think about, even if the name escapes me, do you know when I see, teenagers and they're out there skating, I think of them. I didn't have to meet him. I met his spirit because its name has been spoken. Do you know how powerful that is? That's special. Those of us who spoken the name Aaron, who spoken the name Jaden, Pamela, Peggy, and all the other names that may come out of this. And as we continue through the weeks and we bring up prayer and we say the names, do you know how powerful that is? These are people that we're recognizing their spirits that we never physically met, and we're raising them. Could we be so lucky? We can only hope that we have a fragment of that when it is our turn. You
Yes.
know,
And St. Jason, he was trying to say something, and he was saying something actually pretty important. So I just wanted to give him a chance to finish this saying what he was trying to say.
Oh no, I was just saying that I always tell people, and this was from the experience of losing my mother back in 2021. I still tell people to this day, the pain never goes away. It never goes away. It does get better, like Sanette Shinka said. It becomes bearable,
Mm-hmm.
and it's less like she said. You could be driving down the street, all of a sudden that sadness just hits you and you're in tears all of a sudden. I witnessed that yesterday. Like I was fine, perfectly okay. I didn't even think about my actual brother. I thought about his daughter and bam, there it goes. Like, you know what I mean? But I just let it go. Let it go. If I got to pull over, just pull over, let it go. But it never actually goes away. But it does get better. And what you'll find yourself doing, you'll find yourself, even when you get into that sadness and that grief, you're still thinking about the good times.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You're thinking about those good times, and it makes you, it's a bit of joy behind it too, but it's that sadness. You know what I mean? That it's our, like you said earlier, Sanette Shinkai, it's our selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
We miss that physical presence of that person.
Mm-hmm.
But I immediately try and tell myself, yeah, but I still have his spirit. I still have his memories. I still have his soul. You know what I mean? So it's a process, man. It's a process, and it's been it's been eye opening doing it this way, like allowing the grief to happen. Because I normally don't. I normally fight against it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try and stay busy so I don't think about it. You know what I mean? And it's been really eye opening, just allowing when I'm feeling that sadness to just sit in it, like So maybe I'll come back a little while down the line and talk about that after I really go through it. But right now it's really been something. It's different for me.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to the out of the blue moments. Like my son's biological father uh unalived himself. I was trying to think of the right word, because you got to be careful with the words you use now on social media. So and honestly, we weren't on the best of terms, but I've known him since I was young, since I was like 16, 17 years old. So we had a child together and all. When he passed, I think my role in the time was to be the nurturer for my son, you know what I mean? But like just recently at work, I had a whole situation. Like my boss, she was running in late from work and she made the hand gesture like this. And when I seen it, I freaked out. I freaked out. And it was like I had no control, you understand, of what was happening in the moment. Everything was just happening. I couldn't control it. But I really freaked out and I was like, don't do that. And then I was like, don't do that, don't do that. Then I couldn't stop saying don't do that. Then the tears started coming down because I didn't see her, I seen him. The last picture that him, and my son took was him doing that in the picture. So that's what I seen. You get what I'm saying? Like his physical there, and he was doing that. So like it freaked me out. And then I freaked her out because I'm watching her facial expression change in slow motion. Okay. And like, so then I'm like, oh snap, she's freaking out. Like, so I'm having this experience. It's like, I'm in two places at one time. So it's like kind of watching myself have the experience and then me actually having the experience. So I'm seeing what's going on with her, you know, and then I'm thinking like, oh, she's really freaking out. Like, what am I doing? I'm wondering what my face is doing, you know, to make her make this expression or whatever. And then like when I go to the back and I'm just like keep repeating the same thing over and over again and breathing real heavy. You know, it took me a minute to have to bring it down and calm down, but eventually I got there. But in the moment I was freaking out because I didn't know what was going on with me. Like, why am I having this reaction? I didn't know that his death affected me in that way. You know, if you would ask me, I was fine. I'm fine, you know? And then I had that experience, and that experience kind of let me know, well, no, I wasn't fine, and it did actually affect me, you know.
We don't even, and like you say, you don't know when the trauma triggers happen. You don't know
Yeah.
when certain things, and not necessarily even traumas, but grief triggers. There's triggers for all kind of things. And you know, if we're the ones that are the strong ones, sometimes we don't allow ourselves to grieve. And who's to say what grieving properly is? Nobody knows what that is. No, there's no such thing as grieving properly. It's whatever our individual, you know, um,
The process.
processes of it is. But sometimes us that do the, you know, try to mask so we don't go through it. Like you said, you know, let me keep busy. Let me do this. Let me do that. And you don't really know what it will look like if you're grieving. It's just, and even if you don't necessarily fear what it's like, you just know you don't want to do it. I can be strong. I got to do so many things and be there for other people. So let me keep busy. I know I don't got time to be sitting around crying and doing this, doing that. But it's cleansing and necessary. And sometimes when it hits you, it may, like you said, when you didn't get a chance to grieve for your father, if you've never done it, you don't know if it may hit you someday. You don't know, you know. Just like Sinette Oye said, she may not have even known she needed to grieve, but then she had the trigger and it ran through her. You know what I mean? So be gentle with ourselves. You know, we have these emotions for a reason. They're in us. We didn't create them. We can't take them away. So just imagine if you try to mask them, it's going to just be that much harder for you to allow the process to occur. We've all done that, you know, not just in grieving, but in a lot of things, the way we deal with things. But as far as community goes, you know, be gentle with yourself. And when you are going through something, you don't have to go through it alone. Doesn't mean you have to disclose all your business. It doesn't mean that. Just know that you do have family that walks with you spiritually. And they're not going to fix it. Nobody's there to fix our broken parts. We're just there for each other, sincerely. You know, that love is real. That's something, those bonds that we've created and that we're creating are true. I know when my mom you know, she was 2021 as well. The Kemetic community was a pillar, was a huge support system. And my family's very close and a strong unit too. But sometimes, you know, you got to deal with that through your family. You need something out. You need your own source. And my Kemetic family has been that for me. You know, when I need to break away from that and just get held in a way that I can feel nurtured and don't have to be the nurturer, I come to you all.
Yeah, same here. I can say that also, Sinette. When my mom transitioned, this Kemetic community was like everything to me because like so many people in my family were already going through so many other things.
Mhm.
I didn't have that support at that time, and this community stepped into that void and helped me get through that. So yeah, I can definitely second that.
Yeah. When my mom transitioned, she was the
Mhm.
everything. I mean, the everything for everybody.
Yep.
So when she transitioned, there is nobody to, everybody's falling apart.
Yep.
Everybody. So because of the Kemetic community and the relationships that we've developed, not just as members, but our win wet, I gotta say, and we'll go through some names on the prayer list, but our win wet, Himnetter Kepper, he was Abu Kepper at the time. It was so many, not just you all, but so many, and they gave something that my family couldn't give at the time because everybody was broken.
Yeah.
We were barely able to hold each other up because, like I said, she was the thing, the thing. Without her, it's like, you know what I mean? So with you all and the family in this community, it has been um, definitely loving. I feel safe. I feel I can come to the community with any woes. And it's not to lay my burdens on the folks, but to be held, to feel supported when you can't get that support anyplace else. And it's not like they're the option. It's not like the Kemetic community is the backup plan for the support that we need. I just know that it has provided for me personally a large amount of support. I have developed lifelong family members, and I'm forever grateful for all of that.
Yes. Ashe. Ashe to that.
So as we transition into prayer, St. Jason, of course, you were on the list, but we have gone through all of that. I always want to continue to lift up Himnetter Wasiri as he's
Yes.
going through, healing. We definitely pray that we can get him back here one day, but not only that, for him to be well and healthy. And prayers to his wife, Sinette Tara, who's doing. Whew, man, if you think about what a set did for, she's so strength to her and comfort to her as she stands beside her man and does everything that she needs to do to support him as he's getting better. Himnetter Ames, I don't see him in the chat today, which maybe I'll give him a call because typically he's here, and I do remember him mentioning a setback in his healing a few weeks ago. We mentioned it then, but I continue to keep him on that prayer list until we know otherwise. In fact, I encourage anybody that does have his contact number, since he's not here today, reach out to him and check on him. Because typically he's here being, wild and a mess in the chat. Without that, as we're talking about supporting each other, let's make sure to reach out to him and check on him to make sure he's all right. I say we hold these prayers with compassion. We ask that comfort reaches all who are mourning, the strength that returns to all who may feel broken, and peace find those whose hearts may feel heavy. If either of you have anything to add to prayer before we close out the prayer portion, we'll go into announcements and get ready to close out.
I just want to say to Sin Curtis, we definitely send in condolences and love to you and your family, saying it's sorry to hear about your sister-in-law. Just want you to know we're thinking about you right now as well. We're dealing with our issues, but we're thinking about you also. So just want to
We're
make sure.
dealing with it together, St. Curtis. We're a unit, and just like we always say, if there's anything that we can do to support, you all in any kind of way, St. Jason, my family with my aunt and St. Curtis, if there is anything that anybody feels the need that we can do within our reach to support, please don't hesitate. You know that your love is safe. And I feel confident to say that our love is safe as a union, here, not just here, but in the entire community here. So anything that's needed, please let us know.
Yes.
See any announcements or Sinette? Oh yeah, before we even go into announcements, did you want to close us out with any prayer or anything? If you wanted to.
Um,
So
so
Coach D
I
has something.
wasn't I didn't plan for it today. However, that doesn't mean that I can't, you know. Ooh, I say if we're going to do the almond soup, oh nope, never mind. Because I was gonna say you could do the I can do the English version. You could do the meta netter, but
Okay.
I don't have my English version right now because I was trying to I was doing something right. I was doing something
That's
with
all
the
right.
amisu.
I can do the English version. I know
Okay.
it. I know
Yeah.
the English version.
All right. All right. Let me turn it to. I always like. I got it right here. I know it by heart, but I always like to read it because I like it to sound appropriate, and I know that I kind of chop it up sometimes without it.
I
Without
mean,
actually.
now my version may be a rather short version, but I pretty
Oh no,
much,
it's still the same meaning. But when
yeah,
I
it's still
do the
the same
phonetic
thing.
version,
Yeah.
I always like to read it.
And
Let's see. Here it is. I've got it marked. Coach D there says, I'm a comedic life coach of self mastery. Over the past 30 years, I've helped many through grief, and I've also been able to help them stay empowered to not allowing grief to become chronic sadness. I am
Mm.
here for our community as well. See there? That's what it's about, Coach D, community, how we can support each other. That's very, very, and very, very, very inspiring duo for that.
very needed, especially within our community,
Absolutely.
because you can reach us on our level of practice, you know what I mean? What we practice on a day to day versus if we were going to like a regular therapist, they can only meet us but so far. You can meet us on that spiritual aspect as well because you also walk and practice the life as well.
You know what else? That's also really, really great for comedic practitioners whose family members are other, religions. Possibly you may be a comedic practitioner, your majority of your family may be Christian or other. So having a coach like that also helps through grief when you don't have that kind of spiritual support from your family. So that's
Mhm.
awesome. That is awesome. All right, I've got the Amasu here. Of course, it's in the introduction. And it says here, Amasu impanater, Sauek, Sauek Su, Emit Ra,
Empire enter.
impanater. Tuau, let's see, I'm sorry,
Alua.
Auta, Maketipa Herura. Let me repeat that one more time so it flows a little bit better. Amasu impanater, Sauek,
Alexu Emitra.
Sauek Su, Emit Ra impanater. Ahua Taua Maketipa Herura.
Okay, the English version, in the English, it would be give yourself to the one most high and keep yourself daily to the one most high. And do it today or do it tomorrow just as you did it today. To I enter.
There. All right.
Enter.
So with the announcements, if there's any announcements out there that applies to either the Shrinema or the Comedic community, you all are more than welcome to post them in the chat. We do have an announcement that Sebaid is today, correct? 6
That
p.m. Eastern time. Is that right?
6 p.m. Central.
6 p.m. Central. Now that is solely for
7.
our 6 p.m. Central. So that is
No, I mean, is that 7 p.m.
Yep.
Eastern?
That'll be 7 Eastern, correct.
this is only for Shrine of Ma'at members. So those of you members who are here, please tune in and you'll be able to see the link there on the private page. So again, that's Sebaid today, 7 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Central time. That is hosted by Sin Jason and Sinatan of our shrine. Do you two have any other announcements?
Well, not necessarily an announcement, but I did see that you all started the the introduction to Medunetter
Thank you. I forgot
session
about that
yesterday.
portion. Yes.
I'm sorry. Well, of course, you all understand why I wasn't there, but I really wanted to be there. I was sitting in a restaurant with my family, and I was tempted to just turn it on and say, screw these people, but I didn't do that.
I will say thank you for that reminder because I, got
Yeah.
so much in my mind. It was really, really good.
Yeah.
Sin and Pooh is really good at that.
Yes.
And I'm slightly lower than intermediate level. So the combination of us two, it was really good. That is going to be something that we're going to do. I think we're considering doing that weekly. It won't be long, but it's very basic. It's very digestible for those who have no experience in the Medunetter. So that is really, really good. And the things that we were showing are very, very, like I said, digestible. For those who are more studied or well studied in it, there will be opportunities to reach out to some scholars if they're interested in taking some more in-depth classes. But I remember when we first joined the Shrine of Ma'at, we at least at a basic level, we did have the basic intro to Medunetter. So I'm excited that is launched. Those members, again, that's something for the members of Shrine of Ma'at only, and it's very basic. So if you have no knowledge of the basic wording and the basic unilaterals and things like that, definitely chime in. You should be able to see the video on the page as well. I think it stays up for like 30 days. So that's there. Thanks for that reminder. I completely forgot about that.
And I do just want to say thank you, Sinet Shinka, for your consistency with this every week. I don't always catch it, but I will tell you, I really do look forward to this every week. Sometimes just on Sunday mornings, I'm asleep, but thank you for sticking with it, even with, I know you had Himnetter Waziri here. Hopefully we get him back soon as possible, and he's well. But just thank you for sticking with it and not letting it fall to the wayside like so many other things do. And that's what we're trying to do with Sebai. Whether we get 10 people to join or whether we get no people to join, we're still going to be there every other Sunday doing it. So, and that's inspired by you, Sinet Shinka. So Dwa for that.
Well, I want to also say Dua for that, Sebai. It's been wonderful. I have really been gaining a lot. I want to give gratitude and thanks to Sinet Oye as well for stepping up since Himnetter Wasiri. I mean, I know that I would call, it would be last minute and be like, oh, can you please? And she would just jump on, and once it became more consistent that I needed her, I just want to give thanks for you always being willing to do that. And she's not a temporary stand-in since Himnetter Wasiri has not been here. She is permanent. It's us. And even when he returns, when he's able to return, it'll still be the two of us. And also Dua to St. Curtis for stepping in and helping us out and being, available at any time to help us do this and help us to keep our consistency. With that being consistent, it's you all that keep us consistent. It's really you all that's keeping us consistent. My week can be it can be chaotic like many others, but I look forward to being here on Sundays, not just running my mouth, but I gain the support, I gain the camaraderie, the communion that I feel necessary to get me through my week when I come here with you all on Sundays. I know she can add to this, but I'll say it'll be mornings and I'll text her, wakey, wakey. She not ready to get up. I don't want to get up, but it's our obligation to not only ourselves, but to all of you. And we, like you said, it doesn't matter to us if one person is here or many. Also on the prayer list, I want to go back to that because I didn't see her here, but I want to make sure that we also keep our Sinet Tanya Smiley in prayer. She is one of our full members. Again, what people are going through, it's not the matter. It's the matter that we are supportive, that we are there, and that we let them know that they are not alone. So those of you who do know Sinet Tanya Smiley, reach out to her. Tell her you love her. You can reach out to her and say, hey, sis, I'm just calling, texting to say I love. That's it. Nothing else matters. We need to be there for each other because sometimes there's nobody else but us. Some of us are fortunate to have great, supportive families and this, that, and the other, but everybody doesn't have that. Not saying she doesn't, but we don't know that. We don't know what anybody's situation is. So when you know that there's somebody that needs a hug, even if it's virtual, somebody that needs your hug, give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, what are we a part of a community for if we're not loving up on each other? Are you in the community of yourself? No, we are standing together here. And St. James, I'm glad you said that too. We didn't even set out to make it to necessarily. We didn't have a motive. We just wanted to do something. So I'm glad that this does touch with a lot of you because it does touch with us. It touches our heart. Sanette Oye.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you pretty much said it. Ain't nothing to say after that. You said it all, and I concur. I concur.
Did you hear that, Curtis? She concurred. And we did get a rich out of St. Jason earlier. I ain't even, you was in your moment. I ain't going to bust out laughing, but I heard that rich in there.
Yeah, you have to get send a time on here for your concur. That's
That concur.
Oh, I tried. I tried the time.
She got him in there. Well, with that, everyone, again, we thank you all for the support and always know that we stand together, virtually or not. We are together. Was it James Brown? Is we together as we ain't. We together, and again, we often reach out to family members to ask them to join. You will be being reached out to, so be prepared. Between Sanette Oye and myself, you will be contacted at some point because the goal is to get all members and other Kemetic practitioners from other shrines. As you can see, that it's not just the Shrine of Ma'at here. We are doing what we can do to bring the community together. And again, it's not for views. It's literally for communion, for camaraderie. These are our virtual hands being held together as we raise the vibration of the Netaru. So expect to be reached out to, as St. Jason would say. And you don't have to wait. If you have a desire to be on, hit us up. You don't have to wait to be reached out. Say you want to come on. You've got something to say. It's adoration. All are welcome. You don't have to be a priest. You don't have to be in a title box of any sort. Just come on here with a sincere heart and we've got the space for you. So outside of that, we can close out. As we close out, let's just reflect and say, remember, to reach out to folks and to be present, give space, create it or help create it if you can. Have compassion, and it's okay not to be okay. It's just not okay to stay there, and that's what we're here for, to make sure that when you're not okay, we can virtually pick you up. And if we need to be there physically, we can make it happen, and we will pick you up and keep you going. And we hope that you do the same for us in return. It's just that simple. Outside of that, Dua to the Netaru who sustain life and guide us through all the seasons. That's all I have to say. We maybe never walk alone. May we always find comfort in knowing that we have a community that loves each other and that will be there with you in truth and compassion. Outside of that, I say Uncle Jasaneb.
Uncle Jasaneb.
Jasaneb family.
And my aunt, everyone. Until next week. Bye-bye.
My aunt.